Welcome back, friends. I'm Brianna, a Christian romance and romantasy author. Today, we're talking about something really close to my heart: how to write romance that honors your faith. If you love stories filled with longing, emotional depth, and God's love woven through human connection, you're in the right place. Let's talk about how to craft romance that feels holy, tender, and true. Romance is powerful. It shapes how we imagine love, how we understand desire, and how we picture commitment. As Christian writers, we get to show a version of love that reflects God's heart. Love that is patient, sacrificial, healing, and rooted in dignity. Not sanitized, not shallow, but deeply human and deeply sacred. Faith-honoring romance isn't about avoiding passion or pretending that attraction doesn't exist. It's about how we portray it. Attraction is part of being human. God designed us with bodies, longings, emotions, and the capacity for deep connection. So when we write romance, we don't have to flatten that or sanitize it until it feels fake. Instead, we get to show passion in a way that reflects dignity, honor, and emotional truth. In faith-rooted romance, passion isn't the enemy. It's the context that matters. What's the heart behind the moment? What's the intention? What does this attraction reveal about the character's growth, their fears, their hopes, and the way they're learning to love with integrity? When we write from that place, passion becomes purposeful. Chemistry becomes character development. Attraction becomes a window into vulnerability, not an excuse for objectification. And the tension, those held breaths, those almost touches, those moments where desire meets restraint, can be some of the most powerful scenes in the entire story. Because in Christian romance, passion isn't erased, it's reframed. It's rooted in honor. It's shaped by love that protects, not love that consumes. And that makes the romance feel deeper, richer, and far more meaningful than anything driven only by impulse. Let's talk about the tension every Christian romance writer feels. How do you write chemistry without crossing lines? Because let's be honest, this is the tightrope we all walk. We want our stories to feel real. We want sparks. We want that breath-catching moment when two characters finally see each other differently. We want the flutter, the longing, the emotional pull that makes readers want to root for them. But at the same time, we're trying to honor our faith. We're trying to write romance that reflects the kind of love God calls us to. Love that's patient, love that's kind, love that doesn't use or objectify. So we live in this creative tension. On one side, authentic attraction. On the other, boundaries that matter. And the truth is, that tension really isn't a problem. In fact, it's where some of the best storytelling happens. Because chemistry isn't just about physicality, it's about emotional resonance. It's about two people being drawn to each other in ways that reveal who they are, what they value, and what they're afraid of. When we write from that place, chemistry becomes more than a moment. It becomes a mirror. It becomes a catalyst for growth. It becomes a way to show how love can be both passionate and principled. So instead of asking, how do I avoid crossing lines? A better question is, how do I show attraction in a way that honors the characters, honors the story, and honors God? That's where the magic happens. That's where Christian romance becomes powerful, not watered down. And that's where your writing can shine. Faith in romance works best when it's woven into the character's worldview, not dropped in like a sermon. What I mean by that is this: faith shouldn't feel like an interruption in the story. It shouldn't feel like the author stepped onto the page with a megaphone. Instead, it should feel like part of the character's inner landscape. The way they think, the way they process emotions, the way they make decisions, and the way they love. And when you write faith this way, it becomes a thread running quietly through the story. Steady, grounding, and deeply authentic. Readers don't feel preached at. They feel invited into the character's spiritual life, in the same way they feel invited into the character's emotional life. It also makes the romance richer, because when a character's faith shapes how they love, how they set boundaries, how they show honor, how they pursue healing, that's where the spiritual and the romantic intertwine in a way that feels organic and meaningful. So instead of thinking, where do I need a faith moment? Think, how does the character's relationship with God shape the way they move through the scene? That's the difference between a sermon and a story, and your readers can feel it. If you feel called to write romance that honors your faith, you're stepping into something beautiful. You're offering readers a version of love that is tender, holy, and full of hope. Don't be afraid to write longing. Don't be afraid to write desire. Just anchor it in God's heart for His people. Your story matters. Your voice matters. And the world needs more love that looks like Jesus. Thanks for hanging out with me today, friends. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. See you in the next video.